Dog, I know there's something that I am dumb excited for in 2022, and you wanna know what it is? It's gonna be even more. Update Mondays! What's going on with ya, big dog? And it is an amazing Monday. I hope that your Monday is going well, and if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your Monday ruin the rest of your Monday, king or queen. Speaking of such, it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months and 2 weeks of kicking rheumatoid arthritis' ass. I gotta say, that's 5 times 4 is 20. Am I doing this right? I feel like I'm doing this right. It's been 22 weeks of kicking rheumatoid arthritis' ass. It feels completely amazing to be on top, but not every single day, not all of the time, we're ever on top. One thing I want to talk about are those times that we may not feel as great as we probably want to or should. I have to talk about those times because I go through ruts myself. Even if it isn't with RA, it's sometimes with videos, sometimes with personal issues, and sometimes I just can't seem to win a game. And that, I'm a pretty competitive person, so that gets to me. One thing I gotta say about those moments when we feel down and out, is that we actually have to appreciate them. I know, what? Nani? Appreciate the bad moments? Weird, right? The reason why I say this is because without the bad moments, we wouldn't be able to feel the highest of the high, the great moments. And in order for those great moments to happen, you have to go through the bad moments. You gotta get it out the mud, as I would say. Harsh times create great people. So take this opportunity of a harsh time to make a better you, especially for 2022. And speaking of a better you, these particular strategies are looking to dominate in 2022, pulling themselves up from the depths of sometimes players would call purgatory or not so good Yu-Gi-Oh! These strategies are getting some insane support, more opportunities, but even more importantly, the forbidden list just might fall their way and make them extremely dangerous. That's right, so I'm gonna be talking about 5 different strategies that can dominate in 2022. So without further ado, let's jump on in. All right, so I'm not gonna cap with you. This strategy does not play guide mommy, but, I gotta give it points as it is Sabrina's favorite deck right now. In all honesty, you should probably be flocking towards it. Flew Under Reese is a strategy that made its debut in Burst of Destiny, and boy, this deck is really good. This is a strategy that is pretty much the monarchs of this current era, the true Dracos of this current era, as it forgoes special summoning in favor of normal summons. And no, not just the one that your grandmommy give you, multiple normal summons. Because anytime you resolve the effect of a Flew Under Reese monster, you get an additional normal summon, and then there are Flew Under Reese spell and trap cards like Map and the trap card that I can't think of right now. Look, it's Sabrina's deck. Echo will show you the card and let's make this work. These cards allow you to perform normal summons, which tribute summons just so happen to be, on your opponent's turn. Imagine being able to tribute summon Ryza the Mega Monarch on your opponent's turn, using its effect to spin cards on the field and graveyard, and then returning it back to your hand, only to be able to tribute summon it again on your opponent's turn. There's also monsters like Mist Valley Apex Avion, which allows you to negate an opponent's card, monster, spell, or trap and return it to your hand. And then, well, just like Ryza, if your opponent performs certain actions, you can normal summon again. I don't think I've ever been this hyped over normal summoning. Like, it's just a normal summon, bro, but here we are. Flew Under Reese does get a card in the Battles of Chaos set in 2022 called Flew Under Reese Journey and Preparations. This card not only allows them to get to their most important Flew Under Reese card, but also allows them to be able to dodge hand traps like Effect Veiler and Infinite Permanence a little bit more easier. So not only does the Flew Under Reese strategy already have cards like Crossout Designator and Book of Moon to be able to dodge the current hand traps, with preparations, not only will you make your deck more consistent, you'll be able to dodge even more hand traps. Birds of a feather will flock together, and if you ain't messing with these, then you'll just be a bird of prey. Now, even with the prices of these cards soaring in price, by the way, if you bought them when I told you to bought them, you obviously come out on top. I still don't think people are rating Despia appropriately. I mean, Despia is still a really good deck right now. Forget what the tier list says. This is all hopium and copium. Despias are too strong. Despia is genuinely one of the most slept on decks, even by yours truly, until I perfected a good build, able to slip through any theatrics of almost every deck and gets more explosive in 2022. What Despia does better than any strategy is actually use Fallen of Albaz to its fullest potential. Being able to fusion summon into Despia Queritus with a theater on the field actually provides 2 layers of disruption. Despia and Queritus doesn't seem like a very powerful card, only able to reduce the attack of non-level 8 fusion monsters to 0, but its best effect actually happens when it is removed by an opponent's card. It allows you to spell summon Fallen Albaz to your side of the field, which can fusion summon with your opponent's cards? It's literally a super polymerization, a walking super polymerization. Alibur can special summon itself to the side of the field from the graveyard and negate an opponent's monster, and Incredible Ecclesia can add itself from the graveyard to your hand. You can also fusion off some of your opponent's most important cards into an appropriate Albaz monster. Breaking your opponent's boards with this deck is actually really easy, and being able to establish a tempo is even easier. Now, Structure Deck Albaz coming out in 2022 gives this deck another fearsome actor into this play, because Branded Fusion is an amazing Yu-Gi-Oh card, allowing you to fusion summon from your deck. And even if you don't go through the normal lines of Despia, kinda has me going over this zombie build, and players are really already talking about using Invoked inside of the strategy as well. I think no matter what lines of play, whether you use Despia or not, you are setting yourself up for the grand theater. Now, there isn't a single strategy coming out in 2022 that looks to be as powerful as Swordsoul. And when I mean as powerful as Swordsoul, I'm talking about a strategy that can just take the top off the meta and dominate the card game. But there is a strategy in Grand Creators that's looking fairly good to help other strategies. Brave Token is a strategy that you can splash in a ton of decks, mainly because of Griffin the Wandering Griffin Rider. Wandering Griffin Rider, that's the card's name. Yeah, Echo, show the card. Do the thing where you go to whoosh to take the attention off of me and more onto the card. Yeah, that thing. This card is an Omni Negate, basically meaning that it can negate either a monster, spell, or trap and shuffle itself back inside of the deck, but that's not where the fun stops for this particular card. This card can be easily searched out with Journey of Destiny, which can be placed on your side of the field with Ritual of Armatia, but Ritual of Armatia just so happens to not being a ritual card. You don't got a ritual summon, but what you can do is search it with Aquamancer of Sanctuary. That's like monkey brain don't work. That's a lot of ways to get into this card. The only drawback for this particular strategy is that you can't use the effects of monsters that you normal summon to your side of the field. What? No, I didn't say that right. Hold on, because that sounds way more restrictive. You can activate any monster effect you want to, as long as it isn't a monster effect that activates upon its normal summon or activates on the field and being normal summoned. Take, for example, a strategy that this deck really helps out is Prank Kids. Seeing that these monsters activate in the graveyard, they're not normal summoned, and they need protection from their combos, as cards like Skullmeister and Ash Blossom can hit them. That Rider monster can negate those particular cards. You can essentially set up full board with a Prank Kids Battle Butler and this monster potentially on your side of the field to not only negate an opponent's card effect, but also destroy their entire board. This strategy also works really well with Phantom Knights, as those monsters can be activated in the graveyard, and Torn Scales can summon itself back to the side of the field and then use its effect, so I guess you don't need to use a normal summon monster's effect, giving you extra lines of play and protection for your full combo. Brave Token is actually ridiculously amazing for any deck that doesn't need its normal summon. I think both the PK strategies in Prank Kids and Phantom Knights just get that much better though. So if we're surfing a wave here, I think you'd be foolish to count out the denizens of the deep. Sharks are a pretty competitive strategy, but if I were to tell somebody, old Yugi boomers such as yours truly, about sharks and competitive, they'd probably laugh in my face. Because sharks were probably never thought of even being an archetype to a lot of competitive players. But here we are going into 2022, and I gotta tell you about Bahamut Shark being able to special summon totally awesome. Mermail players know exactly what I'm talking about. The Shark strategy does take it a little bit further, being able to use both Bahamut Sharks. Yes, that was 2 totally awesomes that you summoned into a Utopic Draco future, so that is 3 disruptions in the form of 2 cards, meaning that the rest of the cards in your hand can either be extenders or disruptors in their own right. But what really turns the tide for this deck is the new legendary duelist Abyss Rising, being able to introduce cards like Fischl, which allows you to special summon it by sending a Yumi from the deck to the graveyard. And then there's also Fischl, which I guess it searches a normal fish. We really don't care about that. What we really care about is that it can search to Fischl, which is an extender, by sending a human from your deck to the graveyard. This strategy gets not only more potent and it gets more searchability. The best thing about the current strategy is that it does get reprints inside of that legendary duelist Rising Abyss. Having that Bahamut Shark reprint and potentially another totally awesome reprint would be huge for water players, as not only do they have another opportunity to get these cards for cheap, they also could play a fairly viable deck and relive the experiences of Mermail without having to spend $500,000 on Mermail. Why was that deck so expensive? Plot twist, it's still expensive. Like, what are we doing here? And lastly is the strategy that we need to dominate 2022, but we definitely don't deserve. Hero Aura strategy that are strikingly a real comparison to almost what heroes are today. I mean, when you think about it, heroes cost a lot of money. And on the flip side, to have a hero in your city, that's a lot of property damage. That's a lot of money, right? Fortunately for us, we love heroes for what they are and not exactly for what they do. Also, fortunately, these heroes are fairly good, being able to take full advantage of Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer in the hero strategy, fusion summoning it at will. But the best thing about the hero strategy is that even though you can activate Fusion Destiny to summon your Phoenix Enforcer, the restriction is almost laughable. I can only summon Dark Heroes? I was only gonna summon Dark Heroes anyways. Our Enforcer hero monster can almost always be paired with Malicious Bane and Vision Hero Trinity, enough damage to typically go for an OTK every single time. But now when you want to control the board, there's that Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer, as well as Masked Hero Darklaw, being able to control the tempo by destroying your opponent's important cards and being able to banish them as well as controlling what your opponent can search by banishing cards in their hand. This is the perfect combination of what we need for a hero strategy. Also, don't let your mama build this hero deck, because if you ask for Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer, she's gonna say, we got Phoenix Enforcer at home. Echo, show them the Phoenix Enforcer that we have at home. Sad. It also really helps that heroes pretty much have plot armor. We've been getting hero support for over 10 years, and if you think that that's gonna stop anytime soon, you'd be dead wrong. And that's all that I have for decks that will dominate in 2022. I feel like every single one of these strategies is strong, ferocious, but if it's one of your favorite strategies, you might want to start picking it up now, because I wouldn't want it to become a top tier, ultra competitive, super meta strategy, and you having this Despia situation where the Alubers are 80 each, as opposed to the $30 we got them at. Also, just giving you the heads up, we are streaming today on Twitch, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But if you want to see more TheCaliEffect videos on YouTube, go ahead and check out these videos, as I'll catch you on the next one.